planet Dolan.
From the mysterious deaths of Japanese warlords to finding creative inspiration in a bathtub, we look at 10 influential things that happened in a bathroom. Hey there, I'm Hellbent. I'm here to learn you suspiciously amazing facts that I didn't just make up. Number 10. Beethovens Baths. Ever had your best ideas come to you on the toilet or in the shower? Well, then you're in the same group as Beethoven. The legendary composer was obsessive over his creative washing that consisted of pouring pitchers of water over his hands and humming. Water would often spill through the floorboards, leading to fights with the other tenants. The process would also put Beethoven into a kind of trance that the servants would find hilarious. But the joke's on them. The bathroom inspirations would lead to Beethoven becoming one of the most influential composers in history. This is why you should always keep a notepad in the shower. Number 9. Napoleon's other Waterloo. If you ever wondered where imperialistic French empire builders like to have their arguments, then wonder no more. This particular confrontation would determine the future of the United States. Napoleon was faced with a tough choice: sell off the land they occupied in North America to fund war in Europe, or hold on to the colonies. Preferring to conquer Europe, the Louisiana Purchase went through. However, Napoleon's brothers weren't too happy about it. Confronting Napoleon in his bath, the fight went down the way you'd expect between brothers. Napoleon viciously splashed one with water, terribly soaking him, and broke the other's snuff box. This brutal aquatic assault silenced them, and the Purchase went through, changing the course of history. Number 8. George II's death. One man's death on the toilet would lead to us being able to treat one of the most common heart disorders. George II died straining himself on the toilet, as witnessed by his personal valet. The doctor in charge of George's embalming pinned the cause of death on aortic dissection, essentially meaning his aorta burst open. Taking extensive notes on George II's condition leading up to his death meant that doctors now had a checklist of symptoms to look out for. Probably not the throne he wanted to die on, but his death ended up saving many lives from a similar fate. Number 7. Yusuji Kenshin's odd death. A brutal Japanese lord and the most feared fighter in the country met his end not on a battlefield but on the crapper. Kenshin was about to launch an attack on his only rival for control of the country, Oda Nobunaga. Oda wanted to unite the country and introduce more foreign ideas from Europe, where Kenshin wanted to rule with an iron fist. Kenshin was almost guaranteed to win the battle that would have changed the history of Japan forever, but the warrior died mysteriously to unknown causes while enjoying a nice poop. Oda took control of Japan and set it on the course that would eventually give us hentai. Number 6. The destruction of the Library of Alexandria. Well, this is one that'll make book lovers cry. The library had been the first open to the public and was slowly destroyed piece by piece with multiple attacks on the city by people like Julius Caesar. But the final destruction came in the Dark Ages, when Arab armies invaded Alexandria and thought, damn, these Christian texts will burn great! The invaders used the books and scrolls as kindling to heat the city's many public baths. It took 6 months for the contents of the library to be used up, with many historically important texts lost to time. Number 5. JeanPaul Marat's assassination. The French Revolution was filled with bloody assassinations, but the most important one happened while the victim was taking a relaxing bath. Marat was one of the most important journalistic voices in the revolution. His writing had urged many to take up arms against those who didn't support it. Ironic that he himself would be violently murdered by a member of the conservative Girardin group. But why kill him in the bath? Well, Marat suffered from a skin condition that led to him spending most of his time bathing. Marat would have visitors talk to him while he's in the bath, which is where the assassin met with him. Marat's death would make him a martyr for revolutionaries and influence the violent, bloody times ahead. Number 4. The murders of George Smith. George Smith committed a series of bathtub murders that would lead to a revolution in forensic science and law enforcement. George had a terrible habit of marrying wealthy, lonely women, spending all of their money, and then ditching them. But sometimes escape was futile, so he eventually drowned one of his victims, Bessie Mundy, in a bathtub. Then 2 more women after that. In 1915, George was finally put on trial, but there was no evidence linking him to the drownings. So pathologist Dr. Bernard Spilsbury recreated the conditions needed to drown the women, showing the jury how easily he could have committed the crimes. Thanks to the efforts of Dr. Spilsbury, George was found guilty and CSI 1915 was born. Number 3. The assassination of King Eglon. Whenever someone tries to say there's nothing interesting in the Bible, just remind them of this tale of a man being assassinated on the crapper. King Eglon of Moab was killed when Israelite Ud went to deliver a tribute to the king who ruled over them at the time. Believing that God had called him to kill the king, Ud stabbed Eglon while he's taking a dump, an act that would free the Israelites from Moab's rule. The funniest part about the tale though is Eglon was about the same size as Jabba the Hutt, so when Ud stabbed him, the sword hilt got so stuck in the fat that they couldn't pull it back out. If you're gonna go whale hunting, bring a harpoon. Number 2. Eureka! One of the most famous moments of scientific discovery happened all because of bath time. Ancient Greek scholar Archimedes found that you could measure the volume of an object by observing the movement of water when getting into a bath. After seeing the water rise in the bath, he went out running in the streets naked yelling, "Eureka!" Which, if you lived back then, that'd probably be like the 9th or 10th naked dude you saw that day. Anyway, this led to a new way to measure the volume of objects accurately, leading to important principles that we still use today. So next time you see a guy running naked through the streets yelling crazy shit, he probably just invented the warp drive or did a bunch of bath salts. You should probably still avoid that person. Number 1. Elvis's death. Finally, we get to perhaps the most iconic thing to happen on the toilet since the invention of indoor plumbing. One of the 20th century's most iconic figures, the king, would meet his end on a throne of a different kind. The death of Elvis was a shock at the time, even with his weight issues in consideration. The dent left in his passing could only be compared in current time to David Bowie's or Princess Diana's. The fact he died on the toilet would stick in people's minds, partly because of the perceived humiliation of how far the heartthrob had fallen. If you ask me, he's a goddamn hero. He got rich, got famous, and died doing what he loves, taking dumps. Plus, if he didn't die on the toilet, he would have died shitting his pants, so, I think he actually got off kinda good. I don't know, what do you think's worse, dying on the toilet or dying shitting yourself? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Did you enjoy the video? That's fantastic. Did you know we also have a gaming channel, Collaborative? It's for Planet Dolan. Come look at us as we play some video games.
Like animation? Have some questions about life and the universe you need answered? Come check out Super Planet Dolan. Danger Dolan and I will answer your life questions. Links are down below.